Fox 5 and Hot 97 present Street Soldiers with Lisa Evers.
I'm so glad you're joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers. We're calling it AI Your Life. We're experiencing AI in nearly every area of our lives. It's bringing new possibilities, but at the same time, there are growing worries about job security. So will the future be like some scary sci-fi movie where the robots take over and we work for them? Or will AI give us new ability to expand and enhance the human experience? About 55,000 people were laid off in the United States in 2025 due directly to AI, according to business consulting firm Challenger Gray and Christmas. As high as that number sounds, it was a small fraction of the approximately 1 million job cuts last year, the highest job loss in 5 years, much of it due to cost cutting. Still, the fear of losing your job to AI is real, and many job seekers as well as workers are finding that AI literacy is a plus, says top AI consultant Alicia Lyttle.
I would recommend to start off with ChatGPT. Get a free ChatGPT account. I'd also recommend Gemini. So especially if you're a creative and you want to create images and videos and infographics, Google Gemini is a fantastic tool. And then if you're doing any research, we love perplexity.ai. So start off with those 3 tools.
There are many daily practical uses for AI on our phones with information searches, making appointments and travel plans, and even shopping for the best deals. But there is also a dark side. AI's ability to imitate a real person's voice or create a deepfake likeness used to deceive others continues to grow with few guardrails. That capability increases the potential for scams, says software developer Lucas Hansen of CivAI.
Already, AI can do many, many, many more things than it might seem like it can if you're just using it casually.
The rapid expansion of AI is posing special challenges for colleges and universities. Educators must prepare students for an unpredictable future that will demand AI literacy while developing traditional human communication skills. Rob Kissner, who teaches entrepreneurship and AI at Iona University, helped develop their AI teaching protocols.
We have a period of time in every class period where there's no technology, no phones, no laptops out, where we're focused on lecture and conversation. We're focused on getting students to disagree with each other and justify their position, all of those really, really essential core communication skills. But it's unrealistic to have students not use technology at all in class. So then we have everybody take out their phones and laptops and dive deep into using AI to support their learning.
Let's dive in and get more with our amazing panel. Joining us is Rob Kissner. He's a clinical lecturer for entrepreneurship and AI at Iona University. Rob, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks so much for having me on, Lisa.
We really appreciate it. Also with us is Lucas Hansen. He's the co-founder of CivAI. We're going to find out all about what they do. Lucas, thank you so much for being with us.
Happy to be here.
Thank you so much. Also with us is Alicia Lyttle. She's the founder of AI Innovision, and she's also an AI consultant. She's been a TED speaker, and she's on the cutting edge there of trying to empower people to really expand their lives and their incomes using AI. Alicia, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Alicia, let me start with you on this.
Sure.
In terms of, there's still some resistance in some places and a lot of resistance in other places. People are portraying, sometimes in the media too, AI is kind of like this boogeyman that's coming in and it's stealing your life. How do you counter that?
Yeah. So I always tell people, AI is here. It's not a trend, and you need to figure out how you can benefit from AI. So there's so many ways that we can benefit from AI professionally. So when we focus on the benefits and how we can actually use it, and that's in our personal lives as well, we start to see, I can integrate artificial intelligence. It's not this scary thing. And this is how I can use it to help me to solve this problem.
Lucas, tell us about CivAI, what you guys are doing.
So we educate the public on what AI can do, where it's going, and what some of the possible risks are. And we try to do that through public communication like this. And then we also build software demos that people can use to get firsthand experience with AI.
Where do you think we're at, Lucas, in terms of using AI in positive ways or productive ways?
I think there are 2 different ways of using AI. There's the part that normal people interact with every day, and that's starting to see very broad use. ChatGPT has something like 800 to 900 million weekly users in the world. And then there's business use cases where they might be using it invisibly on their end. I think for the first type, for normal people using it, almost a billion people. And I think for businesses, it's only in the past 6 months that it's being used productively in an economically valuable way.
Rob, you helped design this whole AI approach for Iona University. What are your concerns about it with education? Because some people say, "Oh, it's just going to make the kids dumber because they're just going to copy everything," and there's that comment which is still here. What are your views on this?
Well, so having taught several semesters of our practical use of AI class at Iona, I've gotten to see a little bit of a change in the way students are thinking about AI. At first, we saw like a huge uptick of students using AI to write their papers and, a general sense of dread around use of AI as they associate it with cheating. But we're starting to see that balance out a little bit. We're actually, in my past semester, we were starting to see some students kind of like push back the cognitive offload to AI, which is kind of nice. We're starting it to see it swing the other way, but it is a risk. I mean, I do see students, offloading their critical thinking to AI. They're stressed out. They could be A students and be, have a lot of academic integrity, generally speaking, but, they have part-time jobs and they're part of clubs and they have lots of things going on in their college lives. And so it's a slippery slope to sort of say like, well, this one time I'm going to have, ChatGPT write my paper for me. Well, that starts to blur that sort of ethical line in the sand. So it's definitely a little bit murky still, and it's very discipline specific, in the humanities versus in STEM versus entrepreneurship. The sort of like ethical use and application of it is very different. So it's very hard to kind of like address this with a single policy.
Alicia, talk with us. I'm sure you get a lot of feedback with your company, and also when you're out speaking, you do a lot of public speaking as well, about this pushback that AI is taking people's jobs and they'll never find another job after that. How do you deal with that?
Right. So when I train in corporations, government agencies right now, I'm seeing that they're actually looking for people that are AI literate, whether they're the college graduates or, people that are now upskilling themselves. So I tell people to focus on your AI literacy. And that means to learn how to use these AI tools because companies are looking for people that can do that. LinkedIn said that in 2025, the number one skill to have is AI literacy. So, and then the number 10 skill to have was understanding how to use large language models like ChatGPT and Claude. So it's about upskilling yourself and knowing how to use these tools to future-proof yourself and then also to get a better job. So yes, we're definitely losing some jobs, especially jobs that have repetitive tasks in this AI revolution that we're in right now. But also there's so many new jobs being created, jobs that didn't exist 5 years ago. So that is also a place where people focus, and there's a lot of excitement around that.
There's more coming up after this. Lucas, you wanted to give us some information about jobs?
I think it would be quite nice if after AI gets substantially better, everyone still has a job. I don't really think that's true. If you look at the stated goals of these AI companies, for example, OpenAI, right on their charter, it says they want to automate 90% of economically valuable work. So if we
90%? Wait, 90%?
90%. And that's been one of their core goals since the very beginning. And according to all reasonable measurements, they have been making progress on that. So over maybe 6 months ago, OpenAI released a benchmark called GDP-val, which is a way that they measure how good AI is at replacing economically valuable work. In the beginning,
gross domestic product, right? The productivity, right?
Yeah, and they collected a lot of different tasks from 40 different industries. They interviewed people in these industries, so like real estate and finance and lawyers and programmers, and tried to figure out what they did on their day-to-day. Specifically, the sort of work that they did that required interacting with a computer. And in the beginning, AI only did at least as well as a human, something like 30% of the time, which is already very high. But now already it matches or beats humans something like 70% of the time. So that doesn't mean that it can completely replace a job, but it does mean that they're making progress in their stated goal.
Rob, I've seen articles, couple of the people that have been very instrumental in creating AI expressing their concerns that this is kind of like a wild west, of unregulated use that is out there. Rob, what do you think about that in terms of the business field?
Yeah, I mean, I think with technology innovation, I mean, governments struggle to create legislation quickly enough to keep up with the speed at which, technology is moving. So there is a little bit of unknown, and it is a bit of the Wild West. And there's a lot of companies that are jumping on the AI hype that are spinning up products really quick. And so the landscape changes every day, every week, every month in very dramatic ways.
Alicia, I'm sure you have something to say
Yeah.
about that.
I love how Lucas started us off with this. It's like we're going to move from actually doing work to managing the AI that does the work, right? And we're seeing that so often right now. So, and we call this a lot of times AI agents, but I have different AI tools that do work for me that I used to do myself. So
Like for
now
example, like for example.
yeah. Oh, there's so many. So, for example, every morning, ChatGPT, I use something called schedule task with ChatGPT. And every morning it sends me my daily AI news brief. And then it writes my blog post for me. And then it also writes a short script that I can read for TikTok and Instagram. And I used to have to do all of this kind of research work and writing every morning myself. But now it's all done to me, delivered to my email. So it's doing tasks that I used to have to do myself, freeing me up to do other things. So now I'm out training or speaking or doing something that involves me having to do the work while some of the other work is done by AI. I don't need to go out there and do all the research myself. It does the research and pulls it in. So I'm saving time across so many
Yeah.
different ways by using AI. So, from what you're saying, like from us doing the actual work, managing the AI that does that is where I see a lot of the shift happening in the next 3 to 5 years. So like the 40-hour work week is going to feel crazy. We're going to have a better work week, and we're going to manage the AI systems that are doing the work for us that we used to do.
Lucas, you guys have done a lot of work too about like the concern about deep fakes. I mean, we've seen this. We're going through this in the news. The news industry. There'll be pictures that come out. Some of the bigger news organizations, they have analyses of, is this a fake picture of somebody very famous in a very critical moment? A history type making moment like we've seen recently in some things. What can you tell us about that?
At this point, it's very much possible to create a image of anyone doing anything at all, and it's not particularly hard. When we started 2 years ago, we had some demos around this, and it required some level of technical skill. But at this point, it's quite simple and quite easy. So that is something that people need to keep in mind when they're looking online and they see an image or even a video. It's not really proof of anything at this point.
What about Lucas? What about the scams that are out there?
I think when trying to think about the influence of AI on these things, there's two different things that are worth considering. So, one, AI can make existing scams cheaper and higher quality. And then the second type is AI might make entirely new things possible. So, of the first type, when we get these phishing emails, they were poorly written and not very customized to a person. But now it can be higher quality, and you can use AI to do a bunch of research on a person. Previously, that would have been very expensive. And then the second type are things around deepfakes, and you can use that as a lead into a scam in some cases.
There've been some, that we've seen in the New York area, fake apartments because apartments are at such a premium. Apartment applications where you're putting down your name, you're putting your, a lot of personal information that if somebody wanted to, get access to your money or whatever, it wouldn't be that hard. Are there any signs with these phishing scams that we might be able to look for, especially if they're really well done?
So just like how deepfakes mean that an image looking legitimate doesn't mean that the image is real, with the increase in quality of phishing, the fact that a website looks legitimate or an email looks legitimate isn't proof that it's actually safe. So one of the most important things to do is not think about how it looks, but think about what you're doing. So any case where you're telling someone your social security number or credit card information over the phone or on a website, very good chance that it's not real. The one thing I would most recommend is When you're interacting with a party, don't let them initiate that interaction. Don't take a call from your bank, hang up and call them. And I would say in general, that's the strategy to use. Don't let them initiate the communication.
Rob, give us your thoughts on all this.
Well, on the scams thing, I think it's definitely super scary. I teach a lot of continuing ed, and one of the courses I teach through some adult schools is how to recognize scams. And I mean, I think Lucas's point is right on the money. But it's something that people need to be aware of, especially the voice cloning. That's another one with AI, is they'll get a voice clone of a family member. And actually, one of my students actually had a call from his son that said he was in jail and needed to pay bail, but it was AI generated, and he was wise enough to figure that out. But I think education is the most important thing. We need people to know about these and be hyper vigilant about that.
Like Lucas was saying, it's easier than ever now to scam people because of AI. So I always tell people that they need to do this. So right now you need to set up a family password. So if you do get that call from what you think is your son, it's an AI voice, or your daughter or your mother, your family member, you say, what's the family password? The AI will never know the family password. And that's how you can immediately tell that it's AI. And then if you do get a scam in your email and you're not sure about it, like Lucas said, don't click on anything, don't touch anything. But if you're not sure, you can actually take a screenshot of it and feed it into ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT that you're unsure of this email, you think it might be a scam email. Always show it like the email that it came from and as much of it as you can. And then in ChatGPT, you click on this plus sign right where you're typing in a prompt. The prompt is the instructions that you're giving ChatGPT, and click on deep research. And then it will do deep research on that and say, oh, this is a common scam, completely delete it, don't pay any attention to it. And it will explain the scam to you as well, so you have a bigger understanding of it.
Rob, what do you think parents should know?
The most important thing that parents can do is educate themselves on AI. They need to learn about the AI landscape. They need to learn about the positives and negatives. They need to learn about the ethical implications of kids using it, both for learning as well as for leisure, and all of the other nefarious things that can come associated with technology. I think they also need to be teaching their kids how to use this technology appropriately and how not to.
And Lucas, a lot of fields we think that, okay, as it gets more advanced and more sophisticated, that's a great thing. It's going to benefit humanity but that might not be the case with AI. Tell us about your concerns there.
So I think there are certainly benefits, and it's getting better a lot more quickly. I think programmers have a bit of a vision into the future for these things, and I'm a programmer myself. A year ago, you could only use AI to help with very basic programming problems. And now hundreds of thousands of people will ask AI to do something, and it will just run for a half hour straight and solve some very, very complicated problem. I expect we'll continue to see that in the future. But if you have something that's more capable, that necessarily means that it can also be a bit more dangerous. If it can help automate a person do a productive job, that also means that it could be used for hacking. I think there's going to be many, many, many individuals and small businesses that are completely ground to a halt over the coming year or two when attackers are using AI for that sort of stuff.
Alicia Lyttle, tell us about, you have some great advice on your website in terms of like different programs or different things that people should start with. What should people, like right now, after if they watch this or listen to this, what should they really do if they want to say, let me just find out more right now?
Yeah, I would say start off with one tool first. We talked a lot about ChatGPT. So start off with ChatGPT and just sign up for a free account if you don't have one already. And I'm just going to ask them to do two things, though, just to secure their ChatGPT account. So go into your ChatGPT account, click on settings, and then click on security. And where it says multi-factor authentication, turn on multi-factor authentication and follow the instructions. This makes it harder for a hacker to get into your ChatGPT account, so you'll feel a little bit more comfortable using it. And then the next one is click on the data controls. And at the very top, it says turn off, like it's the data privacy, and you want to turn it off, it's where it allows ChatGPT to take your information and use it to train the model. Turn that off. And if you do those two security settings and then you start to use ChatGPT, you'll feel a little bit more comfortable using it. Lisa, I host free training every month. So that's called the AI Business Summit, and it's at aibusinesssummit.com. It's completely free. I'm teaching them the different tools that they can use and how it can benefit them. And then it's workshop style. So they're actually working it and using it.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers on how to AI your life. You can watch it again and share it on our Fox 5 NY YouTube page and the free Fox Local app. Remember, use your mind. It's your best weapon. I'm Lisa Evers. Let's push for peace, love, and justice for all.